Well, like I said on Twitter, JP, out of the uber respect that I had for Scott and certainly his family, I'd be honored to induct him to the Hall of Fame. I'm certainly capable of putting aside, my feelings for something else. To me, that wouldn't be about the WWE. It wouldn't be about the Hall of Fame. It'd be about my friend Scott. So I can certainly put that aside. That said, I don't believe that's ever going to happen. I think there's a better chance that the proverbial snowball could survive hell before that would happen. But if that call would come, I would certainly be honored to induct Scott into the Hall of Fame. My personal things about the Hall are irrelevant at that point. That has nothing to do with it. Bam Bam Bigelow certainly deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and if that call were to come, I'd be honored to do it. I just don't believe it's going to come. So, I think there's a much greater likelihood that Vince would look to other places to do that. And that's his choice to make. But I'm honored by the fact that the fans would consider that I should be the one to induct him.
I tried to make a list of guys that, if they didn't go in the direction of you, if it's true that Bam Bam's going in, I tried to make a list of guys that I thought would be maybe other choices just based off of the association with them. But, as fans, we don't really know outside of what we've seen and what we've heard via shoot interviews or interviews, like that we do on our show where people kind of give us some personal details. So I was thinking about a guy like Paul Heyman as being somebody that Vince would go to only because Paul Heyman and Bam Bam have a long association dating back to Bam Bam's big debut and reveal at Studio 54 in the mid-'80s with Paul Heyman. But, one thing you've always said about the WWE Hall of Fame is if it was voted on by your peers or by the fans, you'd have a more of a greater interest of going in. Now, knowing Bam Bam as well as you did, how would Bam Bam feel about just a guy like Vince being the person who wakes up one morning and says, I want to put Bam Bam Bigelow in my Hall of Fame?
Well, I think on the surface of that question, I think Scott would be very much aligned where I am. But I also think that Scott, if I'd be so bold as to take a stab at this, I would think that if Scott was sitting someplace and looking down at where everything sits today, that he would be honored and humbled to let his kids see him being inducted to the Hall of Fame. So, I'd have to honor that. I always counted Scott like my big brother. I've said this a million times, but, Bam Bam's because of the sheer size, like my big, and being a little bit older than me, was like my big brother. And Chris Candido was like my little brother. I mean, the three of us literally were like three brothers. And, I think he'd be honored by the fact to be recognized, to have achieved that level that I don't think in Scott's head, Scott saw himself that way, that he saw himself as one of those top-tier guys. I think that's part of the reason why me and Scott and Chris got along so well. Like, none of us ever counted ourselves as being in the class of those guys above us. Those guys were great. They were legends. They were draws. And we're just trying to learn and come up behind them. And so I think Scott would be eternally humbled by being inducted into a Hall of Fame. And because of that, and only because of that, and his family, would I consider, inducting him to the Hall of Fame. It's certainly to pay homage to that and respect to Scott for that. But like I said, I think it's wishful thinking in the fans' heads that Vince would do that. Vince and I don't get along very well, in case anybody doesn't know that or hasn't realized that by now. But I'm hopeful that the rumors that we're hearing are valid, and that Scott is inducted. If for nothing else, then for his kids, to Shane and Colton and Richie, to see their father inducted to that Hall of Fame. because he adored his kids. And as much as I love my boys, he adored his kids. And I would want them to be able to, after all these years of not having their father, I would love them to be able to experience what Bam Bam Bigelow brought to the ring, what their father brought to the ring. And that, I guess, is probably the best way I could put it.